Welcome to the Shrink Show.
So, Enneagram 101.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Enneagram, basically, for anyone of your listeners that don't know what that is basically a personality assessment. I hate to break it down so simply like that, but it's a quiz that you take. And what I like to say about the Enneagram is it's not a personality assessment or a personality box or quiz or any of that. It's not the horoscope. To me, I like to say that it has shown me exactly the relationships that I have in my life, why I have them. Exactly the way they are, why I have the people that I have in my life, and why I have the relationships that I have with them in my life. So sure, it's a quiz, because that's how you find out what your type is. Unless you hire a coach or you hire someone that is trained in it, you don't have to do any kind of quiz or assessment, but that's what I like to say about that. So it's transformative and completely shapes your whole life. The moment you know what your type is, your whole life changes, which is what happened with me.
You're not wrong, because I totally, once I had learned all of it and felt like I had a little bit more information, I was like, what's your Enneagram number? What's your, what number are you? What's your weight? And it's kind of that, what's your horoscope sign? I don't know. For me, it really helps me get an idea of somebody's internal motivations faster than doing all of the, not that the questions and answers aren't important, right? But it helps you kind of get down to the nitty gritty a little bit faster.
Yeah, it shows you the why behind it. So you can't all go off of people's behaviors, because the both of you might, let's say, break up with the same man for the same reasons, right? In the same way. But why you both broke up with them will be incredibly different for your own personal reasons. And understanding why each of you do that is what makes a relationship better or makes it worse, or, all that kinds of stuff. So it's the reasoning behind the reason why we do something. That's the whole thing with the Enneagram that I love. So you are in between the 7, a type 7 or a type 8?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So since I'm a 7, this is going to be fun for me. Maybe triggering for you, but that's just how it goes. So, okay. Would you be more inclined to say that you would rather have full control and not come off weak and not be manipulated? Would you prefer to have that be a constant thing in your life? Or how important is that for you versus not feeling sad or disappointment or someone not killing, your vibe and good time?
I think the feeling sad, disappointed, I think that would, not having a good time, that sounds worse to me than, I don't need the control. I don't mind appearing weak. Obviously, I feel like I do that a lot, despite the fact that people seem to think I don't. Although I don't want to be manipulated, and I don't like being manipulated, but I have no problem having that conversation. So I'd say the one that would make me bummed, if I had to choose, would be not having a good time and people being sad, me being sad, and just being bleh.
Yeah. When you've left relationships, or when relationships have ended, how have they ended? Have you been the one to leave the relationships, or the other person?
Always left.
You have always left.
Right. But that's mainly, I didn't have a lot of relationships, but I always left because I would panic. It was in my younger years, but I would always panic because it didn't feel right. And it was if this isn't sitting right, I don't like the way they walk or the way they talk, or this just, I don't like it.
And how would you leave?
Well, in my teenage years, I would just stop talking to them. But in my grown-up years, it would be this isn't right. I'm not enjoying this. And you would tell them. Yeah. And I'm very honest and confrontational, in a loving, in an assertive way. Right. Aggressive. No, I'm not bossy. My last month said, I'm not bossy. I'm assertively, or I'm aggressively helpful. And I feel like that defines me.
Yeah.
Interesting. Would you say that you're like, when you get, let's say, into a conversation, do you feel like you're really confrontational in someone's face? Like, is someone almost like afraid to say something to you and bring something up to you because they're afraid of your response, or no?
No, but yes. So this is a weird thing, because I think if you truly know me, you're not afraid at all. But for some reason, the energy that I give off makes people think that I'm judgmental. But once you truly know me, people describe me as one of the least judgmental people.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were at a party, are you the person that loves to be with people, or are you more like laid back? You like?
No, I'm like, fucking,
She's in the party. She is the party.
I am the party.
In the party, as she's there. That's true. No one came to the party.
I did. It is the party thing.
Yes.
I'm like that fucking butterfly that everybody loves to, no, I'm not going into the flame. And then everybody's like, ooh, what's going to happen? Is she going to burn herself? Or is she going to fly away?
Are you a positive reframer?
Obviously.
I agree with it.
Yeah, I think
I've literally had people describe me as like, oh, you always phrase things so positively. You always see things so straight-faced. Yeah.
I think you had it right. I would like really go off and say you're a 7 with the wing of an 8, which may seem like you're a type 8, but it's just, we all have our core types, right? So like yours would be a 7, mine is a 7. I have a 6 wing, which just means in times of, not stress, but in certain situations, you can pick up some traits from someone else. That's what a wing is. The wing just stands for the other part of you that's holding you up, so to speak, right? It's your wing. It's like,
I always like the numbers to each other.
It has to be the number on either side of you. And you can't be both. You can't be like a 7 wing, 6 and 8. Some people don't even identify with having any kind of traits of any other type. They're just like, no, I'm just a 7, period. And that's fine too. But a lot of people find the similarities with being their type, but also thinking, oh, well, maybe I'm actually an 8 because I am very assertive. I am very direct. But that's just not always the case. It's just,
yeah. Funny that you say that, because I do feel like in my current job, I have to step more into that 8 character, that 8 role, that leader, that, take that assertive, that take control role, but it's not actually where I am most comfortable.
Yeah.
I just want to free it and just fucking hippie it, run around and be like, what?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that with work, because 3s, 7s, and 8s land under what's called the aggressive stance. So it's part of like our coping style when we're confronted with, any kind of direction. 3s, 7s, and 8s are in the aggressive stance. So, and I get this too all the time, we come off aggressive. My best friend, in fact, calls me passionate aggressive. She's like, you need to chill. But it's the passion that makes you come off aggressive. Yeah. So yeah, like we're very direct communicators, and it's just like the passion that we have behind it. But it lands for a lot of people, especially depending on someone else's type, as too much, as aggressive. Like, you need to relax. It's too much.
I mean, that's the 8.
That's 3s, 7s, and 8s.
We don't have hacks out.
I literally said, for those of you, we weren't recording, but I literally said to you, I originally thought I was a 3, but then when I took the test, I was either a 7 wing 8 or an 8 wing 7. So I am like 100% agree. And I'm really passionately aggressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
Aggressive. That's thanks, nice.
I love that though, because just and even just people in hearing that, if you know your own Enneagram number and hearing, okay, Angee is a 7 wing 8, it gives you a lot more of that understanding of, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to piss you off or, make your life a living hell. I'm honestly just trying to communicate honestly, which is what I expect in return, rather than that manipulation and passive aggressive communication that so many other people like to choose to keep you up.
Yeah, that's also a very 8 thing, I have to say. Type 8, they don't like, for the most part, like the run around, beat around the bush. They can't handle that. They're like, I haven't had time for that. You tell me what you need. And they very often, they're very, very often, that's the opposite. Very rarely, I meant to say, do they get offended or hurt by what someone says? Because they just rather
Exactly. It's like, just fucking say it.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be that hard. If I pissed you off, be like, hey, I didn't like what you said. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. What did I say? No, you said blah, blah, blah. Oh shit, man, that was kind of a dick move. I'm so fucking sorry. How can we move forward? Like, just fucking say it rather than, there was a day when something was said and my feelings were hurt. What the fuck are you trying to say? Did I hurt your feelings? Did Sally hurt your feelings? What is happening? Somebody did. Oh my God, I can't solve that.
Yeah, but that's your work. That's your work though, right? Is recognizing that about yourself. So then when you have conversations with someone else, you don't come off like that. Or you try to be a little aware of how you are communicating things to them so that they don't take it in that way. Because it's not how you genuinely mean it. So the work for 3, 7s, and 8s is to kind of like check ourselves before we go into a conversation so it doesn't land that way.
I literally say the words, can I be honest with you right now? Because then they know something worse is about to come out in a loving way. Can we figure out if Jamie's on or
Nice. I want to
Yeah.
okay. What is happening right now?
So your main number that you got from that online quiz was
It didn't tell me other things. It just said 2.
Oh.
And I said, she probably didn't scroll down enough.
I didn't understand the assignment. It was also free. It was like 11 o'clock at night. There was a lot of factors.
Okay. So, all right. So this will be interesting and fun. So for a 2, there's already, I think, a couple that could probably eliminate. But so for a type 2, they are known as the helpers or like the people pleasers. So they love to put all their attention. And again, I'm like stereotyping and generalizing, right? Everyone is their own person, right? But for the most part, type 2s love to put all their focus and attention on someone else. Like they feel most validated, loved, respected, heard, all of that when someone else validates them.
So does that
We're so upset.
okay. So here's where I'm at. And maybe it is her, and you're just a rarity because every type 2 that I've encountered as a 7, 8, whatever the fuck I am, I offend them very easily because I don't validate their feelings and my honesty scares them. I don't know if you've been and maybe this is just the field that I find myself in, and maybe I'm just interacting with folks that aren't as
well. She also might know you so well, so it just might not take offense to you.
I mean, you never offended.
Since day one, I've always been like,
magic. Right? And that's kind of how she is with everybody, which is where I feel like she.
Oh, so wait, what would you think
I think you're 1.
Yeah. Well, describe 1 for me.
So, okay. So 1s are, oh boy. Okay. So I'll just start off this. Do you, not like in a bad way, but did you grow up just quickly, in the church or in religion at all?
I mean, lightly, but not Catholic.
Okay, but not heavily.
Everything Catholic. Yeah.
Okay, no, then that's fine. Okay, so type 1s, they have, out of all the Enneagram types, a very strong inner critic, like bad voices, so to speak, negative, constant negative thoughts all the time. Like everyone, we think we think to ourselves, oh, that was so stupid. Why did I do that? Like I should, right? We all say that to ourselves, but type 1s, it kind of like rules their world. They have a nonstop.
That's good. Yeah.
Type 1.
You're the middle of your Enneagrams. Fall back into that other test the whole time. Figure that. Like, you know what? You just figure out how not to succeed. I just fail. I just figured out how to not succeed. We're learning how to reframe things in a positive way today.
So type 1s also have a really like big fear of being wrong, of either being like a bad, wrong person or just being wrong in general. They have this need to be right. Yeah, everything. They also can go to offer their, let's say, you're doing something that they consider to be wrong or that they know that you're wrong. And so they'll bring it up to you out of love to like help correct you. But it can land as you're trying to criticize them, change them, be judgmental of them.
No, you do that.
I do that.
Yes.
Oh, I do that to other people.
And lands as criticized.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, people don't like me when I do that.
Yeah, type 1s have like this need to.
I love it, and I'm pretty blunt. I hate you for it. I know. It's you need to. I know. Listen, you should really stop doing that. I made a PowerPoint about it.
Listen, all those criticisms had those.
Yeah.
So also type 1s are not very emotional. Like they have emotions like everyone else, but they lead more with logic.
Alice isn't taught me to do that. Yeah.
They lead more with logic, rationalization, stuff like that versus, all these intense emotions.
Yep. See, I told you, you're 100% a 1. You're my 2.
Maybe it's zero. I don't know.
Well, but you have 2, it's deceiving because it literally seems like it's the social worker. So it's like that helpful.
It said something else is a nice counselor or something. They said generically the generic careers of each of them. And one of the bigger numbers than 2. I don't know.
Well, the type 9s, they're known as the mediators. They're the peacemakers. So they are the ones that you want in, let's say, a conference room. When everyone has opinions and perspectives, you would want a 9 there to just sort of keep everyone level-headed and find solutions and stuff like that. So, I mean, you could be a 1 with 9 or a 1 wing 2. Are you present-focused? Those type 1s are mainly present-focused. They're not so much thinking of the future. They're not so much stuck on the past, but they want to fix things, control things now, make things right now, solve problems now.
As in, but future, I have 5 other lists thinking of 7 days from now.
Yeah, I mean, it might not. Not every single thing, everyone has their thing. And then the older you get, the more awareness you get, things can change too. I mean, you're still always your type. That will never change. But I mean, our behaviors can change because we learn about ourselves. So, yeah. So that's basically a 1.
So then tell us how a 1 and a 7 wing 8, how we are working together.
Well, before you say this, I laughed. And this is how I knew she was a 1.
Right, because I'm so insecure inside.
No, but at my job, all of my social work partners that I have had there that I trust implicitly and work so well with have all been 1s, which is fucking fascinating to me. The people I tend to struggle the most with are 2s because they get really butthurt when I'm assertive. I don't feel like there's a lot of 4s. I feel like 4s kind of your Johnny Depp created my parents don't understand me. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what they. That's.
She beat up. What in it? You think I
chime in because I don't fucking know.
Yeah. So 2s are the helpers. They love. They want to be there for other people. But they can come off a little bit needy because they want you to give back the love that they give out so freely. So it doesn't come from this terrible place or why don't you love me enough? It's they have a need to be wanted, to feel wanted and loved and heard almost more than any other type because they give so freely of themselves. So it's like when someone doesn't give it back, they're like, but hey, what about me? You know?
And to me, that, and this is not in any way speaking negatively of twos. I just want twos to understand that there is so much value and you are so beautiful. I just, for me, I'm not like a coddling type mom. Like my kids are very much used to a little tough love. And in my experience with some twos, it's been that coddling type. Like if I say something that you don't like, I'm not validating you and now you're hurt, but you're not going to tell me that you're hurt. And then there's like this huge elephant in the room and we don't talk about it forever. And I'm like, what's going on? And nothing, I'm fine. It's like, oh, fuck, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because I won't get too into this because it's a little more complex, but I first mistype as a type 2 because type 7s who are what we call counterparts. So I'm a stereotypical 7, but I highly identify with a lot of traits of a type 2. What makes me not be a type 2 is what I want the most. Like, I don't really care if someone wants me or not, right? Like, those things don't matter to me, but I am big with emotions. So I can hold a lot of space for people with their emotions. I can feel deeply. I share that a lot. Like you said, with your child, I have a son. I am always showering him with love, but I'm like assertive as hell. Like, I will give you all the love, but also I'm going to tell you like it is.
Yes. 100%. And you know what? Now that you mentioned all of that, it's quite possible that oh my God, now I'm having a fucking epiphany. The neediness.
What's your technique? Do I fucking hear with the group? My fucking inner child didn't get that. So now I'm like, bitter.
I am bitter.
Oh, no. Did she say, I don't remember if it was recording or not, but like the one that you don't like the most is bringing up something within you?
Oh,
damn it.
You know what's interesting about your dynamics, actually? And I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but when a type 7 is at their most stressed, they pick on, so in the Enneagram, you have arrows to your growth, arrows to your stress. So when a 7 is at their like most unhealthiest, when they're super stressed out and frustrated, they pick up traits from a type 1. So their unhealthy arrow moves to a type 1. So a 7 can become highly critical, judgmental, very black and white thinking. And when a type 1 is at its healthiest, they move to a type 7. So a type 1, yes. A type 1 gets more relaxed. A type 1 is more relaxed. They have more fun. They think more on the positive side. So now
we are truly twin flames.
You heard us talk about that, right? We are so opposite in type, even though we're not really a lot alike. But that is crazy. My mind is blown. I need a minute to digest that.
While Jamie digest. Oh, at my worst, I look like her?
Yeah. And at us, you look like me? No, at my worst. Like my best?
No. At your worst, you look like a 1. And at
worst 7, I look like a 1. Okay.
Yes. And a 1's best looks like a 7.
Well,
no, that didn't. I don't think you said it right.
So at my worst, it was like you, Jamie.
Oh, sorry.
Fucking rusty bitch there.
I never. My murder. That's my signature.
That's a good one line right there. Try harder.
Can you talk a little bit about the traits of each one of them and how that?
Yes. So we did 1, 2. So type 3, they're like the most stereotypically, of course, but they're like the most career driven out of all the types. So like, I don't know what some of the big Tom Hanks, like I don't know some of these big shots, what their types are, but the most successful like entrepreneurs, the most driven, the go-getters are usually type 3s. Type 3s are like the workhorses of humankind, basically. So type 3s, they're in their what's called the feeling triad. So type 2s, 3s, and 4s are very much in their feelings. However, type 3s is what is called repressed in the heart center. So it means they have tons of feelings and emotions, but they don't really know what they are. They're like buried in there. And then they mask it with working. And then they just work and work and work and work and work. And then it hurts their relationships because they like to just work. And well, they have goals and ambitions. There's not so much work. Maybe it's like a marathon or whatever it is, but they're highly driven, goal-oriented, and that kind of goes above, everything else.
To me, it kind of, one of the things that I always think of, and tell me if I'm incorrect, for some reason, I always see 3s like on a stage. It almost feels like the Leo of the Scorpio, of the astrological side. Like, front and center, very like, look at me, I'm the restaurant owner, I'm the, I'm anywhere, the entrepreneur, I'm starting my own, I'm doing all these things, selling you all these things.
And it's funny you say that because they're also known as the chameleons, which means that when they're in different groups of people, they are almost different with every different type of group or person. Like they know what that group would want from them. And so they will become that person, out of like the goodness of their heart for other people, right? So that other people can feel safe, but they will sort of like morph into whatever you would need them to be. That's a type of, yeah. Okay, so type 4s, as you said, are the Johnny Depps of the world.
But you're so me.
But I just didn't say that is that they're not trying.
To me, it was always like the tortured creative, like the poet that was on the street corner. It was like, oh, and feel so many. I don't know. Again, that's the visual.
Yeah. I mean, stereotypically, that's correct. Stereotypically, they are known as the individualists. So their biggest fear, so Enneagram is all about core fears and core desires. So their biggest fear is to not be unique, to not be an individual, to like not stand out of the crowd. They don't want to be part of the crowd. They don't want to be ordinary. They want to feel unique and they want to feel special. So they spend a lot of their time trying to find out what that is about themselves. So yeah, it can come off very like dramatic and all this, but it's because, and that also is the reason why a lot of them are very artistic, because they're expressive and they don't really, pretend to be any different. It's like, this is who I am. You like it or you don't. I'm not going to change for anybody, right? Like if everyone's wearing, stilettos, they might be the one that goes against the grain because that's just not their thing. Right? That was like a weak example, but it's what I know.
No, I love that. Like they're wearing the tennis shoes to prom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the 4s, here's the beautiful thing about the 4s, and I'm sure there are tons of artists out there that are 4s. And actually, again, stereotypically, the majority of, let's say, musicians, a lot of them are 4s, especially the ones that live in Nashville. I only know that too because I've heard podcasts and they live in Nashville, the ones that I've heard.
You are stalking musicians in Nashville? Do we need to have another kind of conversation?
I don't like Google Nashville type 4 artists.
Start scrolling through. There we go.
It's the ones I land to listen to.
4.
No.
4.
They're deep in their feelings. They're the ones out of any other, type of the Enneagram can sit with feelings. So
which interesting is that all the feelings.
Yeah, I was like, is that not on the feeling side?
They are. They're 2, 3, and 4 is the feeling triad.
Oh, totally.
3 out of 4s. Yeah. They're also focused on the past. So imagine that also plays into their dynamic, right?
Oh, of course. They have focus. Trauma. That's where their unique artistic abilities come from.
They have a lot of pull from.
See, it's the angsty. It's the birds of the city. Like that's seriously, to me, that's the best way. That's why they're not social workers. And because they're focused on the past and they're focused on the uniqueness, which is not something that lends itself to social work. Okay. but it does lend perfectly to art and music
Because that's how they express themselves. Okay.
and poetry.
But they're also really great gift givers. Like they're the kind of person that will give you something unique to you. Like they will go out of their way. Like they won't get you a gift card. Like they're the types that are gonna be like, what does this person love? Okay, and they will take their time and like curate something special for you because they want to feel special. They want you to feel special too. So they have so many beautiful things about them, and that's one of them.
I don't know. They have really nice personality.
God, see, I sound like an asshole and I'm not trying to. I'm just my own shit just as much.
Okay, so 5.
Yes, so type 5s, my husband is a type 5. So they're known as like the researchers. They are very much in their head. They are in the head center. Well, 5, 6s, and 7s are in their head centers. So everything is data-driven, logical. They research everything before making decisions. Their whole fear is of being incapable of being able to do something. So they take a long time to make a decision because they want to make sure it's right. They want to feel comfortable that their decision is the right one, that they don't need to rely on anybody else for advice, for suggestions. Like they've got it. They will figure it out. But they take a lot of time to process emotions. They're kind of like what people consider the slowest of energies of the Enneagram type. But this is why I don't like to generalize, because my husband's a triathlete. So if you have very low energy, it's really hard to be a triathlete, right? So not everything rings true for everybody.
Well, it could be emotional energy versus physical energy.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That makes a lot of sense because 4s, 5s, and 9s are in what's called the withdrawn stance. So he wants no part of any kind of emotional conversation because it'll take him a long time to process it. Like, especially with making decisions, or if I bring something up to him, I'm like, hey, I need to talk about this. He will listen to it, but he'll sit with what I'm saying. So then he can come back with like a solution to what he thinks the problem is. I would want him to come back to me with an emotional sentence or statement, but that doesn't happen. He'll come back with, okay, you're feeling disappointed. I don't know what to do with that. So from now on, I'll just do X, Y, and Z so that you don't feel that way.
Oh my God. Okay, so you might have just answered my fucking question, because I'm constantly stuck between knowing if my husband is a 5 or a 6. But the fact that you're 7, married to a 5, makes me think that I am married to a 5. And I always lean more towards a 5 because a 5 seems to be more intellectual than the 6. The 6 had, I don't know, again, it makes sense similar to me.
Not 100% like the one bit, but all of those.
Well, but isn't there something with 7s, 1s, and 5s?
7s, 1s, and 5s.
Like 7s, when I'm negative, I take out a wing trait.
Oh, well, yeah, but well, yes. Okay, so here's another little dynamic. So when a 7 is really healthy and they're in a great space, they move to a 5. Because a 5s are also very level-headed. They take time to make decisions. They're not impulsive. You know, they like to take their time. They look things up. They're calmer. They're more rational. A 7 can be all in their heads. 5, 6, and 7s are in the head triad, so they're all logical thinkers. However, 7s are more erratic. 5s are not at all erratic unless they're highly stressed out. And if they're highly stressed out, 5s move to 7s when they're highly stressed out. So 5s become erratic and impulsive. And it's not a good look for them.
Well, it's not an OCR. 100%.
So what does this?
Okay, so
Profiling. Okay.
So 6s, they're known as the loyalist because they stick with people, just as it says, through thick and thin. They will be there for you almost to like no matter what, unless they're big on trust. So if you cross them, then that trust is probably broken for good. They are very, very big on trust. They're also really great troubleshooters. So they're the kind of person you want to help you make decisions because, so it's funny, they're great troubleshooters, but because they are worst case scenario thinkers, they will think of every negative possible thing that can happen so that then they can make the right decision because they don't want to be disappointed. They don't want to make the wrong decision. Their biggest fear is being uncertain, which is like their constant desire is to have the right answers, right? So they're the kind of person that would ask all their friends for advice or ask some kind of like authority figure for support or guidance because they rely on that guidance because they're just so unsure of themselves and they're unsure of making the wrong decisions. So they're great at troubleshooting, but because they will find every way it can go wrong so that it doesn't go wrong, so they can protect themselves and take care of themselves.
Well, fuck, I might be a 7-wing-6. I don't fucking know. That sounds more like my personality.
They also struggle from anxiety a lot. Out of all the types, they're the one, because they're constantly like, oh, I don't know. And it's hard for them to make decisions. You know, that's anxiety right there. Like I'm a 7-wing-6 and you know, it's no joke. So, yeah.
We know.
Okay. So then we did 7.
7s are obviously badasses. No, well, we didn't necessarily talk about everything.
No.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So a type 7's biggest desire, biggest want and need in life is at the end of the day, which is something that is never going to be fulfilled for a 7, but what they ultimately want is to be fully satisfied and content, to just feel at peace. And the issue with that is that a 7 is never satisfied with almost anything. That's why they're always so future focused. It's hard for a 7 because they look forward to a vacation, they get excited, and then when they get there, it's not exactly how they pictured. And they're always slightly disappointed with their reality. It's because they always want something more and bigger and different. And so they're never truly satisfied. So what they really want at the end of the day is to be content and just be happy with their life. But it's hard to get there because we're always envisioning something better than what we have right now. And which is why we're always future focused. So 7s are also in their heads, they're logical thinkers. So instead of feeling more with our feelings, we think things through. So when I approach a problem, let's say with my husband, who's a 5, who's also in the head center, we both give each other facts and logic back and forth. And so that doesn't really produce the best kind of communication, right? And so knowing this about myself, I am so much more aware. So now I make it a point to lead with what I'm feeling versus what I'm thinking. So I'll approach any kind of conversation with him and I'll start with, hey, I feel hurt, disappointed, angry, whatever, because I'm thinking X, Y, and Z. And I make it a point to, to make sure the emotions are in there. If not, they'll never pop up between.
I'm laughing because she always lectures me. She'll be like, well, what are you feeling? I'll be like, well, I'm feeling, and what I describe is not a feeling.
They'll be like, well, I'm feeling like you should do this. And I'm like, that's not a feeling. Say a feeling. And she's like, well, I feel like if they just did, I'm still not feeling.
Or, yeah, I can be like a one word that isn't a feeling. Like I feel,
I'm thinking your feelings right now.
But yeah, I only think about his feelings. But my husband does the same thing. And I'm like, feeling. And I do the same thing. Because she's like, feeling. I'm like, I'm a fucking therapist. I should be. I'm like, with the feeling wheel, I should be still with that feeling.
Yeah, it's true. It's for people who are really in their feelings, they will have no problem saying, I'm angry over this. But I'll say, if someone asks me how I'm feeling, I'm like, I feel like you shouldn't have said that. Like that, but that's not it's not helpful. That's not healthy.
Fixing the whole rare. That sounds great. You're sorry. Yeah. But then let her talk about an 8 because I'm like, fuck, I'm like a 6, 7, 8, 2, 3 wing. I don't know. Like, what's happening?
That's not a thing.
All of them are like, seeing all these numbers.
I am every single number on the wheel. Like, actually, in my teenage years, I might have been a 4. So I feel like most teenagers are 4.
You also can't change types.
Most teenagers are fours, Natalia. No, okay. So, eight.
Okay. So, an eights. Okay, so the eights are known as the challengers, because they are. But listen, eights, and I will say this to defend eights because eights get a bad rap. All eights want to do are protect the people they love. That is their whole MO. They want to protect and take care of the people they love. So it comes off like they might be challenging you, right? Like they're the parent that's going to challenge their kid's teacher or the president, right? They will take it all the way to the top. They will ask for the managers. They will do all that, but in the best interest of protecting the people that they care about. So they get a bad rap for that, but that's truly where they come from. And because they do that, they want to protect the people they love. It's like no surprise that their biggest fears of being manipulated, of someone else controlling them, of being seen as weak. And so it's hard for them to let their guard down, even with people that they know, or to ask for help, because it's like, I got this. I can handle this by myself. I don't need anyone to help me. When obviously that's not true. Everyone needs help and support, but that's where that comes from. So something that I haven't mentioned, 8s, 9s, and 1s lead with what's called their gut. It's like their instinctual center, which means out of all the types, 8s, 9s, and 1s have this really cool ability to sort of feel like something is off, something's wrong, they're stressed, something in their bodies first. So that can be, it can be stomach problems, it can be acne, it can be headaches and migraines, it can be anxiety, any kind of physical back aches, any kind of physical ailment. 8s, 9s, and 1s sort of have that ability before anyone else to notice within their body that something is up, something's bothering them, they need to talk about something, really more than any other type. So 8, 9s, and 1s are in their what's called the gut center. They have like this gut instinct of like, I can't describe why I feel this way or why I'm right, but I just know that I am. And they usually are, compared to other types that say, oh, I just have a gut instinct. 8, 9s, and 1s truly have a gut instinct and they lead with their gut.
I think my mom's an 8. That's crazy.
Okay, so now 9.
Yeah. So the 9s are called the peacemakers. So they're the peacemakers, the mediators. They are the most cool, laid back, like you mentioned earlier, just chill. And it looks like nothing bothers them. Everything is fine. There's never a problem. The problem is that when there is a problem, they still don't really recognize there's a problem. It's like, what conflict, what problem? This is not really a big deal. And even if you go to bring it up to them, then it's when they realize like, oh, they're upset about this. Let me now investigate why would someone be upset about this. But on their own, to figure out if there's a problem, it's challenging for them. They don't really go there to that space of like there's a problem. They're also they're known as like being the sleepwalkers in life of emotion, not really feeling too much. They still feel like everybody else, but they're not really ones to say, I'm upset about this, or I want to talk about this. This needs to get resolved. That's not really their thing. They're more of like laid back, letting you come to them to solve for things. So, and then 4, 5s, and 9s, again, probably no surprise, they're in the withdrawn stance. So, they'll go off to their room. They like their alone time. They like their solitude, not to escape, whatever's happening, but just they're not even hyper aware that something's going on or someone's upset. So if someone's in a relationship with a 9, or if you can see someone that that's in this space, and you just know that like, okay, it's on me to bring something up to a type 9 to talk about things, to even make them aware that there's a problem, that something's going on. 9s are positive reframers as well. They have a positive outlook. So 2, 7s, and 9s have positive outlook. So a 9 is just more laid back. They're like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be okay. It's not that serious. Like, I just rather not go downstairs. Like, I'll just be up here. It's okay. Right? So nothing becomes a problem. It's just like, it's okay. It's fine. A 7 is more like, this is a problem. I see there's a problem, but it's okay, because then tomorrow I'm going to do this other thing to fix it. So it's fine. Like, it's not a problem. I'll take care of it. And a 2 is like, there's a problem. What do you need? what can I do to help you with this? It's fine. We'll solve this together. Let's talk about this. So they each have their own positive spin.
So then paint us a picture of, because I was trying to explain it to you. So you do coaching and geared towards relationships.
Yes.
So explain to us, now that we have an arch and trick Enneagram definitions, how is it that you coach and use these services for your clients?
Yeah, so I help individuals that want to come in without their partner to talk about their relationship, or a couple together. And I've worked with couples who are aware of the Enneagram, that know about it, which makes life a lot easier. But I've also worked with people that have no clue. And then they come in and they're like, what? And it's like mind blown, right? Because you understand now. So the biggest thing, it's what everyone has their own like niche and stuff like that, but I work big on communication. And the Enneagram is kind of like the best tool that I have seen to really get to like the bottom of the root of how each person is communicating with each other. So, like if you guys came in and you have a 1 or a 7, the 7 is not very sensitive. However, we don't like to be told what to do. Like we don't like being micromanaged, any of that stuff. So if a 1 is coming in with something that they're upset about and they're coming off critical or judgmental, that's going to shut us right down. So it's knowing that about each other, of going, okay, as a 1, I have a bone to pick, but I know that I don't want them to shut down. I don't want them to walk away, put a wall up. So how can I say this that's going to keep the conversation open so that the 7 is not going to, send me to hell or something like that.
Okay.
They'll be open to my feedback, because a 7 really, for the most part, does not like to be told that we're wrong. And I know a 1 doesn't either. So that's also something for a 7 to keep in mind with a 1. Like, don't come at them with, you're wrong about this, and not give explanation, not tell them why. Because from my experience, a 1 will hear that feedback. But 1s are also highly sensitive, at least the ones that I have known and that I've coached, highly sensitive. And so a 7 needs to be mindful of that when they're approaching a 1 and sharing their opinions or perspectives or any of that, to not really piss off a 1, because then a 1's just going to come back right at you with all their lists of reasons why they are right and why you are wrong. So it's little things like that.
Maybe that's why we get on so well. We just constantly tell each other that we're right. You're fucking right, Katie. You're nailing it.
With the editing, you're like, you're doing the social media. And my both go, no, we're not. You're so great.
But what works really good too, and something I would point out, is that 1s are very competent people. And that's how they move through life. They're with their competence, right? They're not big on emotions. A 7 isn't big on their emotions either. So you guys can really, like, if you're having a tough time, can really troubleshoot things together in a really rational way and put your heads together, because a 7 is in the head center. And so you guys can like rationalize and talk about it and go, okay, this is what I think. This is what you think. These are all the facts of what's going on. Okay, what do we want to do about this now? And I find that as a big strength.
My God, and we're both mental health therapists.
But anytime the 2 of us like call each other friends, it's like, oh my God, shit's hitting the fan. Like, I don't know what to do. The other one goes, all right, let's problem solve. And like, they just start spitfiring like, back, this is the back, this is the back. That makes sense. And then we're like, no, that does make sense. Like,
but we're also not afraid to have that, the logic. Like, it's not, I don't need you to stroke my feeling.
No, if I call Angee, it's because I need someone to tell me what to do.
I only had it right.
Oh, I usually say that. I'm like, well, I already think I'm right. So can you just confirm that I'm right? Typically, that's how it starts.
Yeah.
When I call you. And then when Angee's calling me, it's usually, so 7 months ago, something was going wrong. And I think I fixed it. What do you think that I could have done differently? And I'm like, well, first of all, bitch, you should call because...
She was afraid to tell you.
No, it took me 7 months to fucking logically work through the shit in order to get to a point where I can even explain it to her. It's fun. Anyway, sorry.
But that happens for a 7 a lot. Obviously my own experience, but in other 7s that I know, because 7s are always in their head and so future focused that it's even hard sometimes to articulate. So like even right now, as I'm talking to you, my mind is on the end of the conversation because I know where I want to end it. Like I know the point I'm trying to make to you, but I have to slow it down so that I make sure it's coming off like it makes sense and you get what I'm saying. So in arguments, in conflict, a 7 can move real fast because they're in their mind and they're already over there, that it can leave the other person confused and not understanding where they're coming from.
Oh, I am frequently misunderstood. So that makes me feel so much better. I literally said to a good friend of mine, because I have so many of these projects that are started but not finished, but I can see that they're connected. I just don't quite know exactly how they're connected or even how, and I use the exact words. I don't know how to articulate it so that other people can trust that I know what I'm doing, but I do know what I'm doing. I can't even figure it out in my own brain right now, but I know it'll be all right.
Amen.
But then I'm like, will it? I feel so understood. How?
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing too. That's the thing about the Enneagram too, is that everyone can understand each other. Like if everyone, my like wish for the world was like, if everyone knew each other's types, everybody would understand everybody. Like everyone would have so much more compassion and empathy for one another. And you won't be thinking like, that person's an asshole for what they said or for what they did. It's like, no, wait a minute. They have like a real core reason why they acted that way. You might not understand it. Maybe it wasn't the best decision, but they have their reasons for why they needed to do what they did to defend themselves, I think, and to protect themselves. It's what we all try to do as humans anyways, right?
You're right, because it helps you feel heard and it helps the other person feel heard and it helps you see the why and the reasoning that is evident here. Yeah. Behind what may look like somebody being an asshole or somebody needing coddling or somebody, whatever the reasoning is, being angsty, not being understood by their parents.
Oh my God, yes.
So you have an idea in your head of how you want this to end, and I do not want to step on your toes. So you direct whatever you steer. You have the floor. The stage is yours, my love.
No, I didn't have. No, what I meant was like in that sentence, in that previous conversation, I had an idea of what I wanted to say, not like end the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Angee, shut.
But I wasn't hold enough space for what she had envisioned because I really don't hear. I'm out of time with my life.
No, Jaime, what do you have to say?
Hours. I love this. I could talk to you for hours. But so Natalia will have all of your contact information for your coaching services, socials. But tell listeners how can they get in touch with you, and then we'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, so I hang out the most on Instagram. My handle is at Natalia Hernandez Coaching. I also have a podcast called Enneagram in Love, which is all about relationships, but Enneagram focused. And yeah, just my general website, NataliaHernandezCoaching.com.
I love it. Oh, we're going to do our mugs.
Yes.
You have a wine glass, yes? Or are there words?
Yes.
Got it? There's words that say, I'm a badass number 7.
You squint, you can see it.
Yes, squint real hard. Squint.
If you're alive,
You're
perfect.
Thrilled to be here. I'm having the best time learning and realizing I'm going to literally give the Enneagram test. Actually, I need to find a good one and give it to everyone. Starting with my husband. He loves it when he keeps it, but he does it because he loves these sort of tests. So we're going to go home and do that after this.
I think your husband's a 6. That's my guess.
I highly recommend for anyone who's going to take an online quiz. There's some free ones out there, but I really highly recommend the Enneagram Institute. Their website, you can go to their website, enneagraminstitute.com. It's the Red Eye test, or RETI. So it's RHETI. That's what they have it labeled under. It's for the owners. That it's an abbreviation of the owners that created the name. I think it's $12 the last time that I checked. But it's the most accurate one that I've seen, that I've found, and they'll get the results. I think it's like 145 questions that you take, and then you get an emailed results with all the descriptions, and then to focus on the top 4.
Okay. I want to take it because it's interesting that you say the top 4, because I also, I love astrology. I love anything that helps people understand themselves better and understand others better. Yes. And even looking at astrology, now it's like, it's not enough to know your sun sign. I also want to know your rising and your moon, because those help me identify maybe you a little bit better. And same thing with the Enneagram, then it's like not just your first number, but you also have to look at those other 3 and see how those all interconnect. And you and I might be a 7, but if our second one is different number, we show up differently.
Yeah.
Us unique. Congratulations, 4s. You will always be super unique.
Yes.
All right, 4s. Okay, so my mug says, congrats. You survived another meeting that could have been an email.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes. To me, this is positive framing, but aggressively passionate.
I love aggressively passionate.
Passive aggressive. That's a 7 right there. Yeah.
Angie, passionately aggressive.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, passionately aggressive. But this is like, yay, look at how strong you are. You survived another meeting that should have just been an email.
So here's your interactive thing. Next time, this will be an email.
Yeah, let's just talk about right where we see everybody's time. Let's be more efficient. Let's logically look at the situation and let's apply ourselves more efficiently.
Yeah. Or like, just maybe don't even send an email. Just figure it out.
Oh my God. You're not even wrong. Like, I have so many fucking emails of shit that I just stopped reading emails. I literally have the mindset, if I am meant to know it, if somebody really wants me to know it, they're going to fucking tell me. Jesus, I'm going to read 3,000 emails. So many people send an email. Or you get that one word art stop.
know what it really bothers.
Oh my God. See, that's what I need to do. Because you get the one email that's like, hey, look at this hilarious raccoon out by the dumpster. And then everyone fucking responds, that's funny. Thanks for sharing. I had a raccoon once and my dumpster. Shut the fuck up. Like, I don't care. That's true. And now I have 40 emails about a fucking initial email that I didn't need. Why do people do that? I don't know. What numbers are those? Because I can't just squash those numbers.
People will reply on
what number?
I mean, if you're not going to like it, I would probably say a 7.
You suck.
47.
Because they're the ones that will be like, how fun. Look at a raccoon by a dumpster fire. Hilarious. Everyone should know about it.
And I hate just listening to your story. It makes me stressed out.
Her inner critic's like, oh my God, I would never fucking do that.
Never.
Oh my God, you seriously, I've had so much fun with you and I'm so grateful. I really hope that if anybody has any questions or any information that they're wanting more of, please, don't hesitate to reach out to Twitter. Yeah, or if you want a whole other podcast, I gladly have a whole another podcast with you. This has just been a lot of fun, and I very much enjoy your energy, obviously, because you're a 7. So, it's all about a good time. So anyway,
Jamie's like, this is the end.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah. Thanks. No. So thank you so much for all your wonderful shares and subscribes. If you like this information and you think others need to hear it, please forward it on. Don't forget to leave a review.
Yeah.
And just continue being awesome or see, depending on how you show up on the Enneagram. We love you either way. So bye.
If you think we're cool,
or even if you don't,
please like or subscribe so you'll stay up to date on all things The Shrink Show.
thank you for choosing to spend a portion of your life with us. And remember, don't take yourself too seriously. Life is all a giant shrink show.
A Huda Media Production.
Side effects of listening to this podcast may include side aches or snorting from laughter, impromptu jazz hands, nodding in agreement even though you might be listening alone, an occasional "you said it, girl," and mild cases of existential dread. This podcast is strictly for entertainment and informative purposes only and is not intended or implied to diagnose, treat, or otherwise substitute for professional mental health, medical, legal, or other advice. Thank you.